Have you ever felt like you're living in two different worlds at the same time? Not just physically, between countries, but mentally, emotionally, like your mind is constantly translating one reality into another, trying to find a version of the truth that fits both? I've been thinking about this a lot lately. This feeling of being a permanent translator, not just of language, but of context, of culture, of what is even considered real. I'm Ibnul Jaif Farabi, and this is the Unraveling Thread. For those new to the show, a quick hello. I'm an engineer and entrepreneur by trade, originally from the bustling, beautiful chaos of Dhaka, Bangladesh, and now navigating the structured intensity of New York City. And this podcast is where I try to make sense of the complex, often hidden forces that shape our societies and, more intimately, our minds. Today, I want to talk about a specific kind of cognitive dissonance, the one experienced by millions in the global diaspora and increasingly by anyone who lives a significant part of their life online. I call it the burden of contextual translation. Let me explain what I mean. When I call my family back home, our conversation exists in a shared history, a specific emotional and social landscape. The weight of a piece of news, the subtext of a question, the unspoken worries, they all float in a sea of understood context. Then, I hang up and I step into my office or a meeting or a coffee shop here in New York. The rules change. The context shifts. The same words can mean different things. A direct statement here might be considered rude there. A polite ambiguity here might be seen as evasive there. My brain, almost without me noticing, begins its work. It's not just converting Bengali to English. It's converting an entire framework of understanding. This is the first layer of translation, the social syntax. It's the grammar of human interaction. In one world, time is fluid, relationships are the primary currency, and communication is often high context, meaning so much is buried beneath the words. In the other, time is a rigid grid, transactions are clear-cut, and communication strives to be low context, meaning everything should, ideally, be contained in the words themselves. Navigating this isn't just about being polite. It's an exhausting, constant act of cognitive calibration. You are forever building bridges between islands of meaning, and you're the only one who knows both sets of blueprints. But there's a second, more profound layer. The translation of reality itself. I experienced this viscerally during major events. A political crisis in South Asia, for instance, will be covered by the media here. But the narrative, the framing, the very facts that are selected, create a story that feels foreign to me. It's not necessarily wrong, but it's a translation. It filters a complex, lived reality through a lens of geopolitical interest, cultural distance, and simplified takeaways. So now, I'm not just translating social cues for myself. I am mentally translating entire realities for the people around me, trying to explain the texture, the history, the human scale of something that is being presented as a two-dimensional headline. You find yourself saying, well, yes, but it's also, constantly. You become an ambassador for a context no one else fully shares. And this brings me to the third layer, perhaps the most modern one, the digital translation. We all now inhabit curated realities. Our news feeds, our social media circles, our algorithms. They create coherent, self-reinforcing worlds. But if you, like me, have roots and active connections in wildly different physical places, your digital world is schizophrenic. 1 minute, your feed is filled with posts about a local election in Bangladesh, memes in Bengali, concerns about monsoon floods. You scroll, and it's now about a tech startup scene in Brooklyn, debates about policy in Washington, a cultural trend sweeping TikTok. These are not just different topics. They are different universes of concern, different emotional frequencies. The brain's translator must now also become a rapid switcher, a context-hopping specialist, deciding which version of the present moment to inhabit emotionally. It's fragmenting. This constant shift doesn't just create fatigue. It can create a deep sense of unreality, a quiet question. Which of these worlds is actually mine? And the answer, of course, is both, and neither. So what is the cost of this lifelong translation service we provide for our own minds? There's an intellectual tax, for sure. The mental energy is real. But there's an emotional one, too. You can feel perpetually slightly out of phase, a half beat behind, because you're always processing, converting, adjusting. There's a risk of feeling like you don't fully belong anywhere, because your native context is a hybrid, a unique blend that no single place fully reflects. The translator is always in the hallway between rooms, never fully settled in one. But, and this is a crucial but, this burden is also a superpower. This is the personal reflection I've been grappling with. Being forced to see the world through multiple lenses doesn't just create confusion, it can create clarity. A clarity that comes from seeing the relativity of things. You understand that what seems like an absolute truth in one context is just a cultural preference in another. That a problem framed one way is just a single angle of a more complex shape. This translational mindset breeds a natural skepticism towards singular, grand narratives. It makes you a systems thinker by necessity. You see the connections between the local politics of your homeland and the economic policies of your adopted home. You see the human story behind the geopolitical headline. The skill of translation is, at its heart, the skill of empathy. To translate well, you must deeply understand not just the words of both parties, but their intentions, their fears, their unspoken worlds. That is a profound human skill. So while the feeling of living in two worlds can be a source of strain, it is also a unique vantage point. It is the ultimate unraveling thread, because you get to see how the threads from different fabrics are woven together in the global tapestry. You stop trying to choose one reality over the other. You begin to build your own integrated one, a third space, where the translator is finally at home. A space where you can hold multiple truths at once, not as a contradiction, but as a complete picture. This doesn't make the work disappear. The calibration every morning, the explaining, the mental gear shifting, it continues. But you can start to see it not as a deficit, but as a form of literacy, a bilingualism of the soul. And in an increasingly interconnected yet fractured world, that might be one of the most valuable literacies to have. It allows you to be a bridge, not just for yourself, but for others, to explain one side to the other, to find the shared human frequency beneath the static of cultural difference. So, if you've ever felt this fatigue, this sense of being a perpetual context switcher, I see you. It's real. But I also invite you to reframe that skill. You are not torn. You are expanded. Your mind has been given the rigorous, beautiful training of holding complexity. And in that space, the translated space, there is a unique kind of understanding and a unique kind of peace. Thank you for listening. This has been The Unraveling Thread. I'm Ibnul Jaif Farabi. This episode was produced by Light Knot Studios.